Now I'm very excited to welcome back a Chicago radio legend in the one and only Mike North from the Odds Couple on ESPN 1000 and the Barroom Network. You follow Mike on Twitter at North2 North. Mike, here we are, my man. It's fall. The weather's finally turning here a little bit out here in Arizona anyway. How the heck has it been going? Are you enjoying some football?
Oh, yeah. Enjoying the football. Played some golf this morning. Beautiful in Chicago. Good to be on with you again, Kiev. See, you got a new little deal here. Got the football gridiron. You got the odds breaker seeing on the right there. You put some money into the show. It's about time. God bless it. It's a beautiful thing, and it's great to be on with you. The day after my 72nd birthday, my friend.
The day at God, you don't look a day over 62, Mike.
I think I look 50. I think I look like a Bobby Rydell. Like an old 50s crooner, you know what I mean? That would do those golden notice shows. But I feel good. I've never felt better. We got lots of sports to go on. I was happy to hear from you. So let's hit it, baby.
Oh, man. I think it's just your happiness that keeps you young.
Oh, Mike. Well, when I'm in front of a mic, I don't care. When I'm on the street corner back in the day when I was 10, I loved it. Anytime I talk sports, it's my passion. I love it very much. I always tell my wife that was my mistress. You know what I mean? Sports. Yeah, I think sports for most kids was their first love, for God's sake. So I've been very fortunate, very lucky, and we're still rolling, me and you, my friend.
Yeah, we're still rolling. And God bless our women, the women that allow us to
do it. Yeah, my wife is saying that's all I'm going to say.
They are. And I'll tell you this, man. It has been an interesting year because we had this Cubs team. And we're both from the Chicagoland area. Sure. This Cubs team was absolute pitiful come July. July, you're like, what the hell happened? And then all of a sudden now, Pete Crow Armstrong's hitting. The Cubs are kind of figuring it out. They just beat the Dodgers at the Dodgers twice. They're 5 games over 500. And then you look at the wild card standings, they're still 4 games behind. I feel like it's within reach, but is it a little bit too far away for these Cubs to make the playoffs right now, Mike?
Not really. They're 4 games back. Here's where they started getting really rich. They got rich about a couple weeks ago. Their schedule got easier. Okay. But now they got most of their players back. I know Bellinger was dinged up for a while. They picked up Paredes from Tampa Bay. They got rid of Morel. He couldn't play the position. Put Paredes at third. Consul got to know his team better. They're 4 back. I say those 4 games were blown in April and May when he pulled pitchers out too early, was getting used to the team. I was one of the big guys criticizing Craig Consul in Chicago. And you know what? I don't know if they're going to win it, but I like the way they've played. I like the way they haven't quit. He's seems like he's figured it out. It's been sort of embarrassing that his consigliere in Milwaukee, Murphy, who coached with him, has got an 8.5 game lead on him. But that doesn't matter because now we're 4 back in the wild card. We have a steady diet now of the Colorado Rockies after we play the Dodgers tonight. We've won 2 from the Dodgers. We win tonight. Miller's going for the Dodgers. He's got an ERA in the 7s. Okay. And you got Jordan Wicks going for the Cubs. He's 4.60. Right now, if they leave, they won 2 out of 3. Then they go to Colorado. Then they go to Washington. Then they go to Oakland. These are all winnable games, one after another. Okay. And then they play Cincinnati. So they're done with really good teams. And they have 10, 15 games now after they leave LA with some bad baseball teams that they can handle. Now, Atlanta's dinged up. They've had something like 17 different starters this year. They're still in the wild card. The Mets are there. The Padres are fighting for it. The Cubs may have maybe a team or 2 more than they wanted to jump over, but they got to play good baseball now. And, there's no guarantee in baseball that you're going to win. It's not like NBA when I watched the Bulls win 72 games. You knew Jordan was going to win every night. You know what I mean? Or it's not when you watch somebody's like Kansas City, the Chiefs. It's not like Mahomes. He's going to win most of his games. The Cubs are an anomaly, but I like where they're sitting right now. Well, I don't like where they're sitting. I wish they were in playoff position, but they're a hell of a lot closer than when you and I last visited about 2 months ago.
I absolutely, and you might have just said something that kind of tripped my ideas.
I love when I trip your ideas, Kiev. You know that.
Imanaga last night, the Cubs were down a little bit, but he pitched pretty well. A little bit, and this is a desperation spot for the Dodgers to get back right, and the Cubs just score. And all of a sudden, Bobby Miller, like you said, his ERA is in the 7s right now. His xERA is 6.64. And a Jordan Wicks, who hasn't exactly lit it up.
Yeah.
I mean, but here's the thing. You got plus 135 on the Cubs' first 5. It's hard to imagine the Cubs going to LA and sweeping them, but Jordan Wicks has ERA of 4.03, xERA that's adjusted for ballparks and things like that, 4.19. I think this might be a play here at the first 5 at plus 135. That's a great price.
It's a great price, especially when you've won 2 in a row against a team that everybody's expecting to be there at the end. Their manager, I'm not a big fan of. Okay, I know they won the bubble championship in LA, but he's had the best teams that money can buy, and he's loaded with Ohtani. He's loaded with Freeman. You got Mookie Betts, and you know what? It's either World Series or nothing for that team. And if they don't do it again, I know he won in 2018 with nobody in the ballparks. But I'm not a big fan of the manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers. I think there's a lot of guys that can manage that team. I don't know. I don't think he's capable. I don't know if he's the type of manager that could have taken Texas last year like Bochy did and won the World Series. I don't know if he's the type of manager that could take the Arizona Diamondbacks and do what they did. He's loaded. He's supposed to win these games. So we'll see what happens. But the Dodgers, it's either it's World Series or bust. And you got to remember too, it's been unbelievable. The Yankees since 2009. I mean, there's a lot of teams that have hit the dry spell. That's a 15-year thing for the New York Yankees. I don't think there's been that many years where there's been a 15-year gap between championships back in the day for the New York Yankees.
Absolutely. And like you said, with the path here, let's look at the path. You got one more game at the Dodgers. I mean, fine if they lose it, whatever. You got the Rockies at 3 games. With the hitting you have, you should be able to out-hit them at that ballpark. You should be able to take care of business, win 2 or 3 right there. Then you got the A's at home. That should be a sweep. You got the Nationals.
I like Marcotte, though. I think Marcotte, as bad as you look at their record, they haven't done that bad this year for where they were supposed to be. They were supposed to be just.
Oh, yeah.
They were supposed to be better than the White Sox. I mean, they were like the White Sox 2 years ago. Marcotte, to me, is a fine manager. I'd like to get out of there. You're right. With 3 out of 4, you split, you're okay because you still got Washington and Cincinnati, but then the games are dwindling.
Well, yeah. I mean, you got Cincinnati at home, and that's huge. They're going to want to play spoiler. They're going to want to play spoiler at Philly. Win one of those. I'm happy with 1 win at Philly.
That's
tough. You got to get 3 or 4 against Washington, and at least 2 or 3, maybe 3 or 3 against the Athletics. And I think
all I know is they're in it. They're in it, and they didn't look like they were going to be in it 2 months ago.
Yes, let's just hope they don't rip the hearts right out of us like they've done so many times in September.
Maybe they'll come from behind this time.
Yeah, maybe, and maybe it'll be the different role. We're the wild card. The Brewers win the division, and we go there and take them out. How about that? That sounds like
let's just get in and see what happens, baby.
That's right. Let's talk Bears, man. That game. The sharp money was on the Titans. The trends were with the Titans. No quarterback drafted first overall has ever won their first game since 2002 when David Carr did it. All these stats, but the truth is, I went against that. I believed in the Bears defense. Now, I thought I was dead in the freaking water down 17-zip, 17-3, whatever. And then all of a sudden the defense kind of comes through, and then you see the stupid mistakes that guys like Will Levis make, and then it was definitely a bad beat for the people betting the Titans. But at the same time, my handicap was talking about the Bears being number 3 in defensive EPA for the last 8 weeks of the season last year. And I just didn't think they would get those turnovers like they did, but they did. And to be honest with you, Will Levis, he made a stupid little throw into the ground before that, and it wasn't called intentional grounding. I was like, how the hell is that not intentional grounding? You know, if you just try to get rid of the ball, and nobody talked about that. They're like, and then he does it again, but it goes right into obviously appears secondary, and we take it all the way in for the touchdown. But what do you think about that game? Can you take anything out of it for anything in the future?
Well, we got to win. That I do know, and that's good. We're 1-0. But I here's what I took out of it. Caleb Williams is 50-50, like the other rookie quarterbacks. There's no guarantee. And I saw him play a horrible game. He played a Rex Grossman game. And I'm hearing that he's beat all end all. He's a generational quarterback. Let me tell everybody what generational quarterbacks are. It's not Caleb Williams. Okay? He played in a league that was so bad defensively, they disbanded it. Okay, the Pac-12. They just said, forget about it. And I'm being facetious, but that was a bad defensive league. He practiced every day against the 125th ranked USC defense when he was in college. He comes in with a bag load of money. He can't take a snap under center. Either can Jaden Daniels. I mean, you got guys that are called generational quarterbacks that have to learn in the pros how to take a snap from center. Their running game was okay. I like the way they fought back. It was a horribly played second half by Tennessee. The Bears, for once, were one of the teams that you always hear about why they adjusted halftime. The Bears adjusted. They made their hay on special teams. They made their field goals. They punted well. Then on defense, they took advantage of a quarterback who, trust me, folks, 20, 30 years ago, when the league was a rougher league, when the league treated quarterbacks more shabbily, and when the league had more established quarterbacks, Will Levis wouldn't have gotten off the bench for 3 years as a starting quarterback. They're throwing these guys in. Williams wasn't ready. He played 20, he threw 20 passes in the preseason. Levis will never be ready. I saw enough. I saw sixth grade prep football mistakes, falling down, throwing the ball up in the air. I saw Caleb Williams right here drop a snap on third down. I saw a lot of mistakes. We came out on top. But if you're asking me what everybody's thinking about Caleb Williams, they'll lie to you maybe. I think most people are going,
well, here's the thing, too.
Fields was better. Fields was better. And now Fields wins in Pittsburgh.
You didn't like Fields either.
I don't like Fields. I don't like Fields. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me clear something up. He was 10-29. So I feel like Fields, which makes Fields being better troublesome. But it's only one game, and they all had bad games.
Here's the thing. And I am not going to overreact to Williams right now. I think that it sucks to see his backups do so damn good in preseason, though. I think there's a lot of thoughts and Bears fans, but you drafted him.
We're just telling you what we saw.
Exactly. But here's the thing. I saw something.
95 yards. He threw for 95 yards.
I saw something with the game plan with Eberflus and Waldron, who are supposed to be these offensive minds. Well, Waldron is. They're the biggest strength of Tennessee is that what they did in the offseason, getting Xavier Sneed and some of those safeties and corners. And what is the game plan? Make Caleb Williams throw to our receivers against those guys while you have Kmet and Everett, two very capable tight ends there.
They hardly went to him.
What the hell was that game? The game plan was terrible, in my opinion. I'm like, you seriously are going to go against the best receiver, some of the best secondaries in the name. That's all Tennessee has, and that's all they needed.
They're winning 17-3. The Bears have the ball inside the 15-yard line. They throw 3 passes. They don't run the ball once. So there's things that everybody has to learn. I think, they're telling you just said the same thing. I'm not worried about Williams. Why is everybody saying that? They said they weren't worried about Fields. Why do people say that? I'm not worried about it. He'll get better. What guarantees are there that any of these guys, Knicks, that they're going to get better? Hopefully he'll be better than Fields, and hopefully they'll win more than 7 games. Because if Pittsburgh makes it to the playoffs and he's their starter, and the Bears win 7 games like they did last year, what did you do? How did you coach Fields? Because I watched Fields Sunday. Did you watch any of that game? That guy hit 6-7 pertinent passes. He didn't hit 6-7 pertinent passes all last year.
He's
So
playing with
sometimes coaching comes into play, and Mike Tomlin, as much as people may want to criticize him, he hasn't won a playoff game since 2016. But he gets to the playoffs like last year with all the injuries. He mishandled the quarterback situation. Pickett, Wilson, he's missed, Trubisky, Fields. I mean, he's had 5-6 quarterbacks, and he yanks guys fast and everything else. Yet they come out and they play great football. Fields hits big plays, and he looked like the guy I wanted him to look like with us for 2 years.
It's just like I said, we don't know if Fields is completely bad yet because his coaches have been so shitty. It's almost like when that Tannehill came to the Titans for a couple of years, he was really good, and then the GM gets rid of everything. It feels like that, and I said that before the summer. I'm like, Fields still could be good, but we can't take the risk in paying him. And guess what? He didn't get no money. His agent wanted a ton of money from us. We couldn't deal with that. So I understand the move. Now, when I say I'm not worried about Williams, I guess I should have phrased it. I'm not overreacting to week 1 because you should always be worried about Bears quarterbacks. You should always,
yes.
There's not a reason to not be worried about Chicago Bears quarterbacks. But I did see the defense, and I'll tell you one thing about the Steelers. I had them plus 3.5. I was shocked. It was that high against Raheem Morris in a team with a quarterback that didn't play in the preseason, still with a hurt ankle. And the fact that TJ Watt, like I said during that draft, I wish the Bears would draft TJ Watt. He's the best player in defense right now.
He was.
He was just explosive.
All over the place. He was a beast.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. And I'm not condemning Caleb. I'm just saying everybody's 50-50. And that's just the way it is. I do know what I saw a difference in football from the last few years. The running game is back for all these teams. It's 170 yards here, 176 yards there. Harbaugh running the football. There were like 12, 14 teams that ran for 130, 140 yards because these teams don't practice that much in pads anymore. They don't practice their tackling. And the best way, especially with young quarterbacks, is to run the football more. That's why I'm surprised. You're right that they didn't do that more with the Bears and run the ball a little bit more. And they had Williams go up against a pretty good defensive secondary.
Absolutely. Well, I agree too. I love seeing the running game being brought up.
That's coming back. Whoa,
Payton, absolutely. So let's go to underachievers last week and overachieved. Like, what's real or fugazi? You could say. I got that from our good guys on Vies in there, Mitch and Paulie. So
I miss them in the mornings.
Oh God, I can't listen to the morning show. All right, we'll get into that.
I'm just saying, I miss them in the morning. I know it's early for you.
I do too. I miss them in the mornings because that's where I listen to my walks. I waited till the podcast came out, but I had the time here in the Pacific time. What I want to say that overachieved. I still think the Vikings overachieved. Now they played a terrible freaking Giants team, terribly coached Giants team.
Wow,
defense can't even play. But I'm going to say that they overachieved from what they really are. Sam Darnold, there's a reason why he's gone. And now he's got the revenge game with Kyle Shanahan, the Sam Darnold revenge game. Call whatever you want. That's for us in the media to just, make up things, revenge, whatever. But, at the same time, he should have a reason to want to try to beat them. It's only a 6-point spread. I believe that's a little bit low because that. And I also think that the Saints beating Carolina, the way that they manhandled them, that's not how Derek Carr really is. I think he comes back to earth. So I think those two overachieve, Mike.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I don't think that you're wrong. I will say this: Sam Darnold finally got on a football team where he's got a stud receiver in Justin Jefferson. I was happy for Sam Darnold, but there's a reason he's on his 4th team. So I'm with you 100% on that. But I think that what hurt died when J.J. McCartney went down, I was sick because I think he's going to be a stud. He's a winner. He looked good in preseason. But he got injured. It's one of those deals. New Orleans, I like what Derek Carr did. I don't like what Carolina did. I don't know how you don't play Bryce Young in the preseason and then go out with that kind of
that performance last year.
Right. And with that performance, you don't play him. I don't get it. Then you have the worst owner, really the worst owner in pro football, and Tepper. It's just a bad football team, and it showed. And it's just a shame that Carolina, whether it be basketball with the Charlotte Hornets or football. They just can't get out of their own way. And that's what maybe the worst team in pro football with the worst quarterback. So I would tend to agree with you. Now, the other team I'm going to put there is a team that won, and I picked them, New England. I think New England came out, shocked Cincinnati. I don't think Cincinnati's the same team as they were last year. I think Burrow's got a couple injuries, but I'm not worried about him. I'm not worried about Cincinnati. They'll turn it around, although they got Kansas City this week, which will probably make them 0-2. Still won't be worried about them because I think they got a lot of studs on that team. But I think New England surprised everybody. I know that I was just hoping to cover the spread, and they won the game. I'm not ready to anoint them as a team that's going to win 6-7 games.
Yeah, they probably overachieved by winning.
I agree. But that was a huge win for them and for their coach.
In my main survivor polls, I wasn't the guy picking Cincinnati.
Oh, 4,700 people at Circa, right? Or 4,500?
Hey, man, I tweeted it out. 1-4 in their games, and the only one they won in the opening games is when they went to overtime against Minnesota. And humans read my tweet on VSiN a couple times. It was a terrible spot. I upgrade Cincinnati as the year goes along just because they're terrible at starting. I had them low, but now they play Kansas City, and I think this spread is very interesting because Cincinnati is like one of the only teams that really has had their number, yet it's still early. You got an unhappy Jamar Chase who wants to be paid the most. Receivers, God. Buddy Jefferson gets paid money. Now he wants to redo his contract.
Do these guys know they have generational wealth? They have 2-3 generations of wealth, and they're playing these stupid little games. Look, I tell you, I look at Cincinnati, and I think that they're going to be good, but I look at Kansas City. And I look at Kansas City, and I look at Patrick Mahomes, and I think Patrick Mahomes has let it be known to everybody in that locker room, I want to catch Tom Brady. I want to catch Tom Brady. Now, whether he catches Tom Brady or not is immaterial. I think they're going to come out every week. I think they're shooting for 12, 13 wins. I think they'd like to go undefeated, but there's just too many games. I think they'd like to challenge the Dolphins' record of 72.
Sure.
That's how good they are. I think they're better than they were last year. They picked up better receivers. What did we hear when they were losing the games last year early? We heard, there were 4 passes dropped in this game, 5 passes dropped in the next game. They didn't have good receivers, and yet he still wins it. I compare Patrick Mahomes to Tiger Woods when Tiger Woods was trying to catch Jack Nicklaus for the majors. Nicklaus had 18. I said Woods would never do it. He would have done it if he didn't self-destruct his own self, I believe now, and I would have been wrong. That being said, 18 was a lot. He's got 15. He'll never have more. I believe.
If Patrick Mahomes starts hanging out with Jordan and Barkley, then we're going to have to definitely mark that one down.
No, but I think Mahomes has an absolute shot. If they win the Super Bowl this year, that's the 3rd straight year. He needs still some more. And these teams aren't going to last forever, but he'll be almost halfway there. So I think that's a fun race to watch. But once again, I compare it to when Woods chased Nicklaus. The only way to be greater than Tom Brady or Nicklaus is to win more majors or win more Super Bowls.
Well, the NFL loves themselves some Chiefs right now, and it's Sir
God.
A hell of a lot more quote unquote fans. I don't know if they're lasting fans, but they're fans as of right now. Let's talk some NFL then, my man. We got some big games coming up. We got the Miami Dolphins. We're starting out right there. The line on DK -2.5. Total is down to 48.5. It was just 49 a couple minutes ago. What do you think about this game on Thursday night, Mikey?
Miami, who are they playing?
Buffalo at Miami, -2.5 division game.
I think Josh Allen's going to win more than 11 games. I think Josh Allen, I think people throw him under the bus. I don't know. He had Stephon Diggs last year who did very, very well, but was a cancer in the clubhouse. He's a cancer in everybody's clubhouse. And then I heard Josh Allen go, we got better during the offseason after they peddled him, after they got rid of Stephon Diggs. So there were some definite issues in the locker room. I don't think that Buffalo's got a lot of household names. I think McDermott's a pretty good coach, but you got a study quarterback, and if it wasn't for Mahomes, he'd be the big name. No different than when Jordan was playing. If it wasn't for Michael Jordan, it would have been Karl Malone or Clyde Drexler. Okay. So I think that the Buffalo Bills got a generational quarterback. There's only a problem. They got an all-century quarterback that they have to compete with Patrick Mahomes. I love Buffalo. Although Miami came back nice in that football game against Jacksonville. You didn't like that, huh? Yeah.
Jacksonville was my underachiever. Think I had 3 in the hook, but I'll tell you right now, that game was over. And they're my underachiever. They crap all over themselves. ETN fumbles at the goal line to go up 2 or 3 touchdowns. And then their cornerback gets hurt, and boom, to Tyreek Hill. 14-point swing at the end towards the game. Towards the end of the game. That was my
Miami. I'm not big on Miami. They gave Lawrence too much money. They didn't have to pay him that much. They gave him too much money. One of the league leaders last year, he was like tied with Fields in fumbles, turnovers. So that was puzzling. They overextended themselves. They lose their first game. I think that Miami showed resiliency. I was on the other end. I had -3.5. I did lose that by half a hook, but I was in the football game when I didn't think I was going to be in the football game. I ended up going 3-1, and that was my loss last week. But McDaniel's a good coach. I mean, I don't have a problem with him. He's a little cocky, a little arrogant. I don't know if Tua's going to give you the same brand every week that he gives you. I'm not sold on him. But that being said, they won their first game, and they won it at home, and it was a tough road game for Jacksonville to lose.
Yeah, it was.
I'm on my game today, Kiev. You're just enthralled.
I love it when you're on your game, Mike. That's what
on my game. I actually studied. I did homework and everything. I'm reading off schedules. I never used to do that. I used to come on and go turn the thing. Let's go to work.
You're so good at improvisation too, my man. But hey, I mean, I have Miami as a 1-point favorite, maybe 1.75. I think if you want to get real technical.
Who are you going to go with?
I would pick Buffalo. I hope it gets the 3. I hope it gets the 3. I don't think it will, but I think it's going to pressure. You might get a 3 -120.
My deal is if you're playing, you got Josh Allen, you're going against. He's all the difference in the world. I think Mahomes and him, if those guys get hurt, the line just goes the other way. I mean, you see where Green Bay's line hasn't really changed with Jordan Love being hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Which is weird because I like Jordan Love.
No, Green Bay was a 5-point favorite look ahead, and then with Love now gone, they're a +3 dog. So it did change from the look ahead. But it's not that much. Now the Packers are +3 -118. I'm going to tell you this. We'll get to this game, but I have something for you in this game.
I love when you got something for me.
I'll wait till we get to this game. Ravens, and the Ravens are now -8.5, total 41.5. Mike, I'll start on this one. Baltimore, after
see what I'm doing for
you? On a long week, Mike, on a long week, they're winners after a loss. And they outgained the Chiefs by 99 yards. And that's just because Mahomes so clutch, and they had some stuff going their way, no doubt. But
oh my God, yes.
But they are 16-9 after a loss, as not even as a dog, just straight up since 2019. I have this a much bigger spread. Did you see Antonio Pierce punting on the 41-yard line of the Chargers, down 6 with like 7 minutes left in the game? That was some serious boneheaded Charger stuff we used to see when Stanley was the coach there, man. I mean, I was blown that it blows my mind that these guys are paid millions of dollars. We're fans, we're sports bettors, and we watch the game, and we're yelling at the screen, telling him his mistake. Down 12, game over. I mean, I could have got a cover there. I had the Raiders 3.5.
Yeah, Minshew. I mean, they seem like they're Teflon. I know that they're not a whole. They used to be a whole big subject every year from the 80s on when I was a kid and everything else. They got us. I love Minshew, but he's a backup. Let's face it. He's a backup quarterback. Crosby did not make a dent. Okay. Their defense. I mean, the Raiders just didn't get it done. And I'm not a big Pierce fan. I'm not a Pierce fan. I don't know whatever. Oh, they got in Tony. Who's he? Oh, he's got an attitude. So did Art Shell. So did a lot of guys. Okay. I think that the Raiders are a last place team in that division. I think the total was 6.5, and I had them for under the total. And I didn't see anything this week that would change my mind.
Yeah, I took the Ravens. I even laid 9.5. I don't know why it moved against me. This should be past 10. My number's like 13.5 to 14.5, depending if you're going to factor in the extra rest or nothing. But this is like one of the top teams in the NFL. They blew away the Niners last year towards the end of the year. They shit the bed in the playoffs, like we saw. They outgained
you always do.
But are you calling the Raiders an average team? I mean, because if they're an average team, this spread is still a little short. No, the Raiders are not an average team.
No.
And the Ravens, I might take an alt line, Ravens minus 13, and I'll get like +2 something on
good line.
that.
But I will say this. If the Raiders total 6.5, they're not an average team. They're below average, big time. That's what Vegas expects them to do. 5, 6, 7 wins, period.
Exactly. So we're on.
They're nobody. They're nobody. They're not going to be a factor, especially in that division. I don't believe. I mean, I love the Chargers, and I love Jimmy. Jimmy's a good friend. I'm so after the Bears, I'm rooting for the Chargers this year, and you already see the difference.
All right. Well, I'm making this a play for the show. I'll make it.
Go ahead.
8.5. That's what it is right now for 2 stars. So let's move on to the next game. We have. Let me see. I got to go back here since I'm looking at alt lines. Saints at Cowboys, and Cowboys are -6.5, total 46.5. This is a real interesting game after watching the Saints' performance last week. Mike, have you any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I like the Dallas Cowboys, and I'll tell you why. I like Dallas. Not saying that New Orleans can't cover. Maybe a money line play, but that can be expensive. I really appreciate Mike McCarthy, and I might be the only guy in America that says that. He won 12 games last year, won 12 games the year before with a quarterback that is like Lamar Jackson, can't win the big games. They finally gave the quarterback $200 and some million, whatever he signed for. It's just astronomical. The highest paid quarterback in football for absolutely doing nothing so far in his career to get them close to the Super Bowl. So when I hear people down McCarthy, I go, you won 12 a year with Dak Prescott? And then you see what he does. It's not McCarthy's fault. And they're going to win. They were 9.5 Dallas this year. And I looked at that. I go, they really don't like McCarthy in Vegas. Mike McCarthy's got 1 Super Bowl win, just like John Harbaugh. How come Harbaugh's been twice to the Super Bowl. He's won 1, if I'm mistaken, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. McCarthy's
won 1. Harbaugh,
okay,
Harbaugh has won 1 Super Bowl.
John Harbaugh has won 1, correct.
Okay, let me tell you something. How come he don't take any heat? How come Harbaugh don't take the heat McCarthy takes? Because Baltimore does the same thing every year that Dallas does now. They get into the playoffs and they lose, right?
Yep.
They lose all the time. And yet McCarthy's like a whipping boy when he's got a lunatic. I love Jerry Jones, but he's got a general manager. Although the general manager's the owner and he throws money at these guys, he wants to win. But I think Mike McCarthy isn't appreciated. Aaron Rodgers has won Super Bowl. Who do you win it with? Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, correct.
Big
and
time.
All the blame went on McCarthy. So I like Dallas. My number's past 6.5. It's 7.5. It's not huge. I like going against teams that overachieved the week before. They're all fat and happy because they beat up Carolina. Big freaking deal.
They gave a beating though.
Yeah,
they gave a beat and deservedly so.
Exactly. Now you're playing a defense that's actually going to get to Carr. The truth about the points, you're right. There could be a backdoor cover at any point in this game. Right. Here's the thing. You don't need to tease 6-point things because you can take the Cowboys instead of -6.5, you take a -285 on the money line, which is kind of like the teaser anyway, because you got to win. And then you take them with like the Chiefs, who is -225. You are at even money just about. Yeah, -105. Much better price than a teaser.
I'll give you one. I've done this a couple times. I call it the double-double. Okay? I'm introducing it to all of America, ladies and gentlemen, on the odds breakers. You basically take the Dallas Cowboys on the money line, okay, put your money, put your 100 down. Now you lose 280 or 285 if you don't win it. But if you win it, you put your 100 down. You put the 100 on the opponent and hope they lose by 4. You win both ends. Period. End of story. I think this is a both end win, maybe. I think this is a win where you can cover the game, but Dallas will win it. Period.
Absolutely. And I'm considering Dallas as a play for a contest, but we'll see where that number sits. And even though my number's 7.5, I can always play it in a contest when these lines are stale because I put my bets in nice and early. Let's move on to the next game, which is the Niners Vikings. And we kind of talked a little bit about this. Sam Darnold, supposed revenge, wanting to get his old team back. He did ask for more money. So, of course, they had to let him go. They're going to have to pay Brock Purdy over there at some point. If I was Brock Purdy, I'd hold out now. Be like, dude.
Brock Purdy is like me. I think it took me longer than him. He's blessed. Okay, to be where he's at. And, when you talk about Mr. Irrelevant, when I broke into the business, that's what I was. Nobody gave me a shot. I appreciate Brock Purdy will get his money down the line. But I really love his competitiveness. I thought there was a couple passes that he didn't throw well. I thought, you could tell it was the first game of the season. Ayuk dropped a good ball. You got Deebo Samuel. Then you lose McCaffrey, and they bring this other guy in, and he runs for 170 yards, just like I was telling everybody the running game's back. They got depth. They got both ends of the ball. They got field goal kicking. They got coaching. Can they finish the job? I don't crap on them. I think they can go over the 11.5 or 11 that they are for the total too. I like San Francisco. San Francisco to win this football game.
Yeah, why not? I think
Purdy's the most underappreciated guy in football.
The only thing I hate is a short week. And it's early. It's almost too early for that.
Both teams got it. Both teams got the short week now, right?
No, the Vikings are normal week, right? Because they played Sunday, didn't they?
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And then the Niners played Monday. So I'm just saying this in general, but it's I probably not. Do they need him? I don't know. Maybe.
No, but he didn't play the first week, so he'd be fresh if he's healthy. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's all I'm.
I have the Niners minus 7.5 in a normal situation. I'm only minus 6.5 because I have to factor the short week. It might be too early for short weeks, though. These guys just got out of training camp. It might be too early.
You can listen to us. You don't have to bet what we're saying. We're just going off the top of our head, saying which way we lean. We're not giving you. I'll give you a pick at the end. I'll give you something you can put your foot. But just take this as a point of information.
Absolutely, just take it for what you get.
That's right.
Next game, we have the Chargers at the Panthers, and the Panthers are +6. The total is 39. Mike, you're clapping. I want to see what you got here for us.
I love Jimmy. Jimmy and I used to hang. Jim Harbaugh, I never dreamt would have this type of situation. I never dreamt he was going to be a coach anywhere. I was wrong. He never talked about it, just played his football. We'd go out, have a beer or two once in a while. Never brought it up. Never saw it coming. I should have. His brother, his dad was a coach. I wanted the Bears to get him. I wanted the Bears to get him. Nothing against Eberflus or Foles. I think that if the Bears would have got him, would have been a match made in heaven. Former quarterback for the Bears, comes back, wins a championship. That's what I saw. But, that being said, it didn't happen. It's LA's win. This is a wonderful thing. They won when they play at home, and the Raiders fans took over the stadium. So they were basically playing a road game at home. And Herbert only threw the ball. That was a game last year. That's Stanley, the coach of the Chargers. At the end, you'd see 40 passes thrown. You'd see 42 passes thrown. Herbert slinging the ball. Right, he only threw 25 passes. There was a balanced attack. Jim Harbaugh. The difference between the Chargers this year and last year, I can say this confidently, is the head coach. Period.
So I can't bet against Carolina for one reason.
I can't either. I'm going to leave the game alone.
If you want to lose money as a bettor, you bet against the team that played like crap that last week.
That's right.
Because that's not how it works.
I'm just going to tell you, Kim, there's no way I'm touching this game. Next thing you go, Panthers 17, Chargers 16. You're in the fetal position with your thumb in your mouth in bed. after the loss. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And Jimmy loves to win by 3 points. He has no
He
problem
don't
winning
care.
by 3 points. You know,
You don't care.
you'll play soft cover 2, up 10. They'll get their back door. Game over. It's
You know
fine
what's
with
great
him.
about him? His enthusiasm. I love
Yeah.
people that love what they do. He loves his job. And what's cool is he brings himself down to his players' level. He's not a standoffish guy. He's pounding on Herbert's shoulder pads, you know, patting Khalil Mack in the back of the head, you know, just having fun going through messing with the guys. He gets you to believe, relax, and achieve. That's what he does.
I got a bold prediction for the next game.
I love bold predictions.
Like I teased you on Mike. Colts, Packers +3. Money's coming in on the Packers. They're now -118 here on the DraftKings, on the FanDuel. Packers, trying to find it. -120 +3. This was +100. This was 3.5 a little while ago. But you know what? Jordan Love might play this game.
Yeah, how about that? I thought the guy was going to be in traction. You know, his leg was going to be up in the air, and you know, the guy's hanging in the hospital bed. People are coming to see him. No,
it was a sprain.
Right,
it's a sprain.
They won't put him on injury report. They won't put him on the injury report. So they feel he's come back. I felt bad for the kid.
Me too.
I really did. And when they know how to develop quarterbacks there. That's my argument for Caleb Williams. My deal was I wanted to bring in Cousins or I wanted to bring in Wilson. Now, maybe the Wilson thing wouldn't work. Maybe the Cousins thing wouldn't work. But I wanted Caleb Williams to watch for a year or two and then do what Love did. But when you're the number 1 pick now, like Tom Brady said, they put these rookies in too fast. They're not ready to play. But that's the hand that they've been dealt. They've dummied down the game in college, and now they've dummied it down in the pros. This is not the same quarterback. I want a quarterback that throws from the pocket. I want a quarterback that rifles the ball. I will say this about Aaron Rodgers. He might be a little older now. I saw, and I'm not going to put him to sleep yet. I saw some passes from him that reminded me of him 5 years ago in that game. It just didn't work out.
Right. I am saying I'm going to give this play out at +3 for 1.5 stars, and I'm getting it out.
Wow.
And I'm telling you this. Here's what LaFleur said on Wednesday today. Love does not need practice reps in order to play. Adding, I'd say it's pretty open for the quarterback to suit up Sunday against the Colts.
Wow.
I mean,
either that or he's trying to.
He's maybe so. But it's almost a little bit early in the season for tomfoolery. I think he's serious.
I love tomfoolery. He's a good guy.
He's a great guy. And watch this line shoot up to Packers -3 and everybody else picking their nose thinking, why didn't I listen to Kiev? Why didn't I listen to Mike on this show? That could happen, my man.
I just think that LaFleur's a hell of a coach, and people were panning him a year or two ago. I just think the guy knows how to coach the game.
Absolutely. He would have made Malik Willis too, probably pretty dinky and dunky, and they would have just ran the ball down the Colts' throat, just like the Texans did last week. Yeah. I mean, it's Packers for sure. This is going to be a play for the show. So next game, we have Seattle at the Patriots. Patriots +3.5, -115, pretty low total of 37.5. So all I have to say, Mike, is normally I would fade the Patriots in this situation, but the truth is that, you know, they did show some signs of life. And Seattle, I'm glad I pushed with Denver, but Denver had them the whole game. I'm not sure if Seattle's ready to go on the road and cover 3 points against anybody yet. I'm not 100% sold on Geno. I know he's done enough to be like a borderline starter, but the Patriots with the hook at home in Foxborough, when they play the slow game, Ramondre Stevenson's running the ball well, and they also have a ref that tends to like the dog, and I think it's let me pull it up. Likes the home team, Carl Cheffers. Cheffers like 57.
I love it. They got the referee.
They got the ref. And so there's no way I can normally I would like to, but not in this situation. I'm passing.
I'll tell you what. I don't know if I'll do anything in this game. I like Seattle. I think Brissett's somewhat like Geno Smith. I think it will be a good game, but I think I'll take Seattle. I think that it's going to be tough for New England to match what they did last week. I mean, that's a huge upset that nobody hardly even talked about. You pan the damn team all year. You say they're going to suck, and then they beat Joe Burrow, and there's like nothing, not even a whisper. I think that's one of the most impressive wins of the week, and hardly anybody talked about it.
It was the most impressive win of the week, and that's when you fade them normally, but I can't. It's 3.5.
You either stay with Seattle, in my opinion, or don't bet it.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Cheffers, I might be like, all right, how about this?
You with the refs. Listen to you with the refs. You treat the refs like I used to look at some of my nuns at school. We got systematic training.
I'm just trying to find an edge, Mike. I'm just trying to make money. I'm just trying to find an edge.
I get you.
Browns, Jaguars. Jaguars -3, total 41.5. Now, all this news and Watson, he had his excuses too. His brother, somebody passed away. I know his dad did, but he wasn't close with his dad. Now he's rate chart. Oh, he's a piece of shit. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, how do you lay points with the Jaguars too against such a good defense? I'm thinking more about Myles Garrett. I'm thinking more about guys that can maybe disrupt this game. Now, don't get me wrong, Mike. I took 3.5. This is 3. This is a much different story now. 3 to 3.5 is the biggest movement in football at any half point, for sure.
Yeah.
Everybody will tell you that. But I mean, I'll lean the Browns just based on the fact that this could be a 2-point game. And the Browns were embarrassed last week. The Jaguars were embarrassed too, but that's what they do. I can't trust the Jaguars past a 3 in any situation. Maybe if they're playing Carolina, that's about it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not high on the Browns. It's the stupidest contract ever given in football. It was given to Deshaun Watson at $240 million guaranteed. You have to be a complete, utter moron to take a criminal, an arch criminal, and then put him on your team, have him run your club, give him more money than the rest of the team combined, and then expect them to follow him, and he can't play anymore. Now, I had told Carmen DeFalco, who is my host, I told him during the preseason, he's my host on ESPN. We work together, have a great time. I said, you know what? There's something going on with Watson. I said, I don't know. And I said this 2 weeks ago. I could bring back the tape. I don't know. I think people are still hitting him up for money. I think there's still a lot of nonsense that's going on. We don't have any definitive deal. There's still. And then what do I see this week? A 2020 now situation where somebody's accusing him of being sexually inappropriate. Here we go again. And you're starting the season with a guy making more money than anybody in the game. The guy basically should probably be in jail for if they did everything he says he did.
Right.
And then he paid all this money out. Cleveland gave it to him so he could settle out of court, and then there's more people coming. I think it's a bad situation. I like Jacksonville.
Here's another thing going in Jacksonville's favor. Conklin and Wills, they're 2 tackles. They're starting tackles. Did not practice. Wills did not practice today. Limited for Conklin, which could mean he's still out. A lot of these guys are limited. I mean, those are two. Those are like
Lawrence gets panicky. Lawrence gets panicky sometimes, and Cleveland.
Yeah, but Cleveland won't be the side if these tackles.
No, they won't have. They won't have the
that's the problem.
No.
So I understand that. I understand it. I just can't lay points with Jacksonville until they prove they can't puke all over themselves.
But you got a guy, your leader, your quarterback. You know what they talk about during practice? The rest of these players, or in the locker room, is he gonna play this week? Because they're starting to ask Goodell if he's going to be on the disciplinary list.
I'd be better off with him not playing, maybe. Though,
I agree. I can't believe I wanted him for the Bears. I didn't want Mitch at the time, Trubisky. I wanted him for the Bears. They didn't even interview him. And I always was puzzled by that. And now you're seeing this whole thing blow up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Jameis Winston, call him what you want, but he's another. I mean, it's like, can you just get more bad situation with bad history?
They were talking about Jameis Winston the same way they talk about Caleb Williams and these other quarterbacks.
I know.
He's still in the league, but I mean, my God, he's a second stringer, and I think he's got a maturity problem. He just can't get focused.
Yeah. They're very immature, both of them.
Absolutely.
Jets, Titans plus 3.5, total 40.5, Mike. The Titans, after last week, when their coach says, we would have won the game if we just punted the ball on first down. If that doesn't light up a fire under someone's ass on the offense, I don't know what will. Levis is immature, but man, for his own dignity, can he cover the points against a stacked Jets team that looked a little bit out of sync against the Niners last week? Now the Jets have another road game here.
I'd lead Jets.
At 3.5? You'd lay 3.5?
Yeah. Okay. Aaron Rodgers will come back. I think they got a good enough team. I saw Tennessee get that lead and just blow it. Not to say that they can't put points up again, but you saw what happened there. My problem is that I have the number for the Jets. I have a -5 in my numbers, so I'm with you. But it's just another team that was. Well, both teams were pretty embarrassed. I'm hoping it gets down to 3. Get it down to 3, and we'll play the Jets together, my friend. I like the Jets.
All right. Jets for Mike. I'll write that down. Jets for Mike.
Just write it down. It won't mean nothing. Forget about if we lose.
Forget about it. All right. Giants versus Commanders. Commanders -1.5, total 44.5. I would have liked this over under 44, but I'm passing on the game. This is just too school kids fighting each other. It's a terrible matchup because you don't know who's going to be more incompetent. Both teams are going to try to lose the game at the end like they usually do. So I'm staying away from this, but maybe you have something better.
Yeah, this could be 6-3. I mean, this could be a low scoring game.
It could be 35-35 too with these guys. You don't know.
Yeah, they have no defense. Dabo has been a disappointment from the first year when they had the easy schedule. The Redskins, and that's what I call them, the Washington Redskins, because they don't have a name. They don't even call them the Commanders. They put the W on the helmet and just run outside.
I hate that name.
It's a terrible name. The Redskins should be back. 140 tribes want it back, but it's what the media thinks is important. But that being said, you're right. This is a stay away game. The Giants and the Redskins. It's a dog woof woof game. Woof woof.
All right, let's move on to the Rams Cardinals.
We're rattling them off. We're like the Rolodex. Look at my. I used to dance, man. I used to go. Okay.
Thank God there's no bye weeks. We got more to talk about, Mike. Rams Cardinals. Right. Cardinals -1, total 48.5. Now I'm going to be honest. I when this number kept going down, I did lay -1.5 at the Rams. I thought the offensive linemen were in a little bit better situation. I mean, 1.5 to 1+1 is not a big move. I'm not super worried about it, but I will say that I would have liked the Rams more if I know that Havenstein is going to come back and play because of the fact that they lost some of their offensive tackles. They just put some of their guys on injured reserve.
They just lost their best receiver, one of their best receivers outside of Cup, Pakua, right?
Yes, but Cup. I'm not going to punish them for that because they always had.
But that's a receiver that's huge. He's a great receiver. He set records last year for rookies.
Right,
it's not like he's a dog.
Oh, he's not. But I mean, they rarely played with both Nakua and Cup. It was either one or the other. And last year, Cup was out forever. It's just like if they have one of them, I'm okay. Is my point. I don't like the fact that Tyler Higbee's been out. He's he's interesting, but they did play pretty tough against the Lions. Now the Lions kind of gave it up a little bit at the end to force overtime, but this Rams team has the Cardinals number. The Cardinals kind of choked on themselves last week against the Bills. I would take the coach here over the Cardinals coach, Gannon, but I need Havenstein to start because that at least tells me something. They already have Avila and Noteboom, the tackle and the guard, on injured reserve from this last game.
Which offensive
and they have Dotson. Yeah, and they have Dotson and Havenstein on questionable. So I'm not giving out a play until I see that these guys are in. And if they're not
in, no play for me. Play for me.
Fair enough. Let's move on. We have the Bengals Chiefs. And this keeps coming down. Now the Bengals are +5. It was +6. Mike, I'm going to be honest with you. Back in June, I took this game. I took the Bengals +4. I thought it was a great number. I'm like, the Bengals always have the Chiefs number. And then that shit performance and the problems with Chase, like we just mentioned. T. Higgins He's not happy either. He's going to be a complete asshole all year. He wanted a contract. He's not getting one. So you have two receivers that want contracts. You have Joe Burrow, who was just paid, but he's got no one to throw to now.
Yeah.
The Chiefs the Bengals defense looked absolutely terrible against the run, and the Chiefs can do anything they want. Pacheco is amazing on the ground. Obviously, you saw what Worthy did, that 4-2 kid that that they drafted. Great perfect for Mahomes. What a great match that was for that offense. And now they could get, obviously, Hollywood Brown back. I mean, the Chiefs are loaded. But the Bengals have always had their number.
I know.
I'm staying with my +4 because there's nothing I can do with it except possibly take the parlay. I can take the Chiefs money line with the Cowboys. I get my money back in case the Chiefs collar. And for some reason, the Chiefs win by 3 or 2 or 4. I mean,
it could happen. It could happen. I just happen to think that the funny part this year is when I heard Burrows dyed his hair blonde. I said, if you want to wait a couple of years, it will turn white like mine. But, here's my deal. He said he was bored. The guy's single. He's a quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals. He could have any woman he wants, and he's bored, and he's dyeing his hair. Here's what I know. He loves the game of football. I think he's a winner. But you got other guys. We just talked about it with Watson, where their heads aren't into football right now. It's
I don't like his
money, contract, everything else. I would lean against the Bengals in this game. I know that the Bengals have had their number. Every year's a different situation. And I just happen to think that Kansas City is on a mission. And I saw it last week. And I don't think I'm going to see anything different. But I think a lot of people will take the Bengals based on the logical. What should the spread be? Should it be 4? I mean, you'd think if the Bengals were whole, you'd think they'd be 2.5 point dogs. They're 4-point dogs, and they were that early. So I'll just go with the Chiefs on this. Maybe a money line play.
Yeah, I understand that completely.
Yeah. I mean, there's really in the NFL, there's 3-4 upsets every week, or games that you pick. You say you can't possibly lose, and then you do. You know what I mean? There's a reason, folks. Watch your credit card bills too, folks. Take it easy with the betting. It's early. Bet responsibly. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, and T. Higgins didn't even practice today, so who knows what the hell's going on with him.
Yeah, I'm telling you, there's too many question marks over there.
They're going to have to score. That's the bottom line. They're going to have to score. And that's the part about it. All right,
I don't see Cincinnati stopping the Chiefs.
No, they're not stopping the Chiefs. This probably goes over 47. Steelers, Denver, and Denver now down to +2.5. Numbers 36.5. This is just a contrarian move. It's like a home dog type situation. It's hard to play in Denver. Justin Fields did pretty well for the Steelers. They just couldn't punch it in. A lot of bad stuff went against him. There's some weird calls and some.
He played well.
He played pretty well. Got him down the field, but this is a different situation now, playing away from home. I think that Nix is a firecracker, and that Denver defense is freaking terrible. What is this? What is this total of 36.5 here against Denver, who can't stop anybody? I think Fields will run 2 touchdowns. I think Fields might be a really good fantasy player this week. And then Denver, Nix is a firecracker. He'll throw a pick. He'll run the ball himself. They got some receivers.
I watched him at Auburn.
I like
the over too. You know what? Don't forget, Denver had it last year. Most of the guys, that defense gave up 70 points in the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, they were beating the Bears, and the Bears came back and beat them last year. So I'm with you on the over.
It's my best bet at 3 stars. I think that this will be my best bet of the show is the Steelers Broncos over. You got 36.5, 20-17 wins this.
Boy.
There's just a lot of ways that this over is going to hit, in my opinion. So that'll be a play. So you got Bears Texans. Some money came in on the Bears today. Bears at +6. I was really hoping for a flat 7. I got greedy. I didn't take the -115. So now I'm kind of like, oh, well, I missed out on it. Now I probably got to wait till game day for all the public to hopefully move it back up for you, because you ain't getting anything better than 6 until game day. Total 45.5, Mike. It's like we said about the Bears, but the Texans all hype. But I'll tell you this, the Colts moved the ball against the Texans pretty well. And now the Texans kind of come out feeling good about this game. The Bears not feeling good about their offense, but they're going against a secondary that's definitely not as good as the Titans secondary. I think the Houston's got a good front, but their secondary's got a problem. The Bears defense might be still underrated. I'm going to lean the Bears, but I'm not taking them right now at 6.
It's tough because their quarterback, the Bears quarterback's green, but you're right about the defense of the other team. And you want to take the Bears. You think they're better, and I think they're better. I look at the total of the Houston Texans this year for a season, 9.5. That's odd. They won 10 last year. Why would they digress with the total? And it's not like it's a big digression. It's a half game less, but you'd think that the total might be 10 again.
With everybody they signed. Yeah.
Yeah, they signed some big players. Were they a flash in the pan? They won that game last week. I like the Bears. I'm going to take the Bears. Their quick defense, their special teams, and Williams. Here's the one thing I like that Williams didn't do. He didn't throw interceptions. The same thing happened with Fields in Pittsburgh. They didn't throw it in other people's hands. Play a clean game. Let the defense and special teams do what they did. Maybe you cash in on a couple scores. I'm going to go with the Bears on this. And I'm a Bear fan, but as a kid, I was a broke Bear fan because I would bet the Bears all the time. I got the Bears against the Packers getting 10. They'd lose by 40. I got the Bears against the Oilers with Dan Pastorini against them. They'd lose 47-0. Stuff like that.
Oh, my amen to that, man. I think we all lost money on the Bears.
I remember there was a game against the Chiefs. I bet them 6. I bet them against the Chiefs. They played Kansas City. I go, I like the 7. They lost 64-21. My God, they got mangled.
Well, I've bet against the Bears a lot more recently in my life, and probably made a lot more money than I did.
Oh yeah.
Let's go Falcons Eagles to finish it out. Monday Night Football. The incompetent Falcons from last week are playing the Eagles, and the Eagles are minus 6.5. Pretty big spread, but it's the Eagles. Total 47. Mike, what do you got?
I'd have to lean the Eagles, and I'm very disappointed because I took the over for wins with Atlanta this year at 9.5. So, I mean, that first game was not good. I mean, anybody that took Green Bay for the total this year, or Cincinnati, who lost last week, or Atlanta, it's only one game. But you don't like to start off that way. I can't believe I'm saying this. They're going to have to get hot after this week. I think they lose again.
I'm going to probably find a prop in this game. The Eagles are another team that's fine with winning 3. They completely kill the clock with the tush push, going for 4th and 1s the whole end of the game. That's just how they kind of do things. So the truth is that the Eagles are a very dangerous favorite over 3, in my opinion. The Falcons, they look so bad last week. It's just another one of my rules. I can't go against it. But the truth is my number is about 6.75 anyway. If you factor in the extra rest, maybe it gets a 7.5 or something. But the truth is I'm staying away from a side in this game. The total at 47, probably lean over now. But the Eagles secondary looked terrible against the Packers, but it's also the first game. You see if Vic Fangio, who is a guy I trust a little bit more than others, cleans that defense up a little bit, and that could happen. So I'm going to learn a little bit in this game. This is going to be a learning experience for me, Mike.
All right, baby. I like that.
We'll keep it at that. So beer bet bangers, man. Any long shots that you like, or season win totals, or anything that you've noticed after week 1 here that might be some beer money?
I would probably if you can buy the Chargers at over 8.5. That was the total. That they played one game, they won. I'm sure it's going to be different now. There's going to be juice and stuff like that. But I like them to win over 8.5 this year. As far as rookie of the year, I think maybe I'm wrong here, but you know who nobody's talking about? The receiver from Ohio State that's playing for the Cardinals. I think he played all right last week. Harrison.
Yeah,
I like him.
He didn't get many targets. He was wide open at the end of the game, and Murray didn't even see him. He didn't get enough targets last week. They were throwing to Dortch, but I mean, he's a stud. I bet you get a better. You probably get a better price on him. You get a better price.
Harrison get? How many catches did he have? Did he have any catches?
I think he had 1 catch.
Yeah. Well, see, these guys aren't stars yet. I heard Roma Dunze is hurt for the Bears. They go the star receiver is hurt. He had 1 catch. He was targeted 4 times. Nobody's a star yet. That's a first-year guy. So Marvin Harrison, I expect to bounce back. I like him sort of as a long shot for rookie here. Over the quarterbacks that are going to be very inconsistent.
Plus 800 right now, and he was.
I like that price.
He was a little bit more because Caleb Williams is now plus 165 after a bad.
Yeah, he ate up a lot of it. He ate up a lot of the deal. So yeah, I like Marvin Harrison as a long shot.
Yeah, that's not a terrible play at all. For me, this is tough. I still. The problem is that this taking the Lions is not a long shot. I got them plus 150. They're minus 150 right now.
That's not a long shot, Kev.
Yeah, that is not a long shot here. I'm trying to find one for you. Let's go with defensive rookie of the year.
Oh, baby.
Let's do it.
I got the chill.
Yeah, here's the thing. Junior Colson, Harbaugh's guy from Michigan, was drafted by the Chargers. He's an absolute beast, in my opinion. I watched.
And he's around familiar faces.
35-1 for Junior Colston. 35-1. He gets a bunch of. He's going to get a ton. He's the middle linebacker. He's going to get a ton of tackles. And if there's no pass rusher like Jared Verse or Dallas Turner or Late Latu, who got 0 points, nothing last game, it's going to go to probably a middle linebacker or somebody gets a lot of picks. I think Junior Colson on Harbaugh's team is worth $10 or so. Beer money pays $360.
Yeah,
let's
couch
do it.
Change. You got couch change. He's around familiar faces.
Mike, we love you. Where can we get your great information, plays, and media?
I want everybody to listen to this, okay, and listen good. All right. I'm on ESPN 1000 on Fridays at 1:45 with Carmen and Yurko. I give a pick out. Just check out ESPN 1000 app on your if you're around the country. I also am on ESPN at 1:00 on Saturdays with my Odds Couple Wagering show. But our podcast, the Odds Couple podcast, goes up Fridays at 10:00 in the morning. I'm also on the Bar Room on Mondays, where I had the San Francisco 49ers this week. I'm 2-1 on Monday nights. I was 1-1 the week before with the Ravens and the total. So I'm 2-1 there. Check me out on the Bar Room at 3:00. And you may see me come on with Kiev. I'm into him for a little dose, so I got to work it off.
Absolutely. The legendary Mike North, everyone. Mike, thank you so much. We'll be talking soon.
You guys take care of yourselves, everybody out there. Let's go. I'll see you guys. See you, Kev.